There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With over 140 channels in your vehicle, your all-access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Wu, for another lunchtime learning episode of CMA Connected, now presented by SiriusXM. Yes, that's right. I'm going to take a quick moment and send out our big thanks to the team at SiriusXM Canada for this is a big deal because today marks the first episode. And now I know that what I'm about to say might be redundant a little bit, but it's important that we message this because although you have seen SiriusXM support CMA on so many different levels, it is official as of today that SiriusXM is now our presenting sponsor for our entire CMA Connected video series. So thank you, SiriusXM Canada, for that. All right, so on this lunchtime learning session, we're going to be diving deep into a category that is, without a doubt, one of the hottest things going right now in mobile electronics, and that is, of course, motorcycles. And when you're talking about motorcycles and motorcycle audio and accessories, the brand SaddleTramp is going to come first to mind for so many different reasons. But I'm not going to be the one telling you why. We have the right guest to give you the right information today. First up, we're going to bring on our 12-volt specialist from Importel, who distributes SaddleTramp. And, of course, his name is Romesh. What's going on, Romesh? Oh, you're on mute, buddy. It helps when you turn on your microphone.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
There you go.
How you doing, Ben?
I did say you're a 12-volt specialist. I'd never said that you were a pro audio webcast audio specialist.
Definitely not a webcast specialist.
Sounds good. So do you agree with me, Romesh, that motorcycle is like hot like fire right now?
It is a vibrant category. It's a huge category right now, especially with people at home and less places to go and travel abroad. Motorcycles and as we can see by Harley sales and what happened last year in the industry is absolutely a incredible category.
You know, I had some friends that were kind of ahead of the curve. They kind of converted from the more fat boy style motorcycles, Harleys, into the street glide and the bigger touring style motorcycles. I was like, why would you want to do that? They're like, no, this is where it's at. And that was like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And I think they were a little bit ahead of the curve because now that entire segment had just completely exploded. And I know that you're pretty excited to bring on our next guest who's joining us because he's a little bit of a specialist in the field and he represents the brand that we're talking about.
I wonder who that could be.
I don't know. Maybe we should bring him on though. Because he's
never been,
because it's not like he's ever been on any of our CMA broadcasts ever before.
Yeah, pop his motorcycle cherry.
There you go. Here we go. Gatlin, Sandhu representing Metra.
Hello.
Hey. What's going on? So do you agree, Gatlin, on what we're talking about? I mean, I know you're always excited to talk motorcycle, especially with SaddleTramp.
It is the biggest segment, especially in Canada right now with the weather turning around and people getting out there and riding their motorcycles and having a little bit of extra cashola to start spending on doing things like accessorizing their motorcycle. And what better brand to bring to the table with Importel than our SaddleTramp brand. You know, we have an abundance of products we have to talk about today. Nothing in specific, but overview of the entire brand with Importel, as they are our largest distributor in Canada of the SaddleTramp brand. And I couldn't be more excited, honestly, to talk about this stuff today because, you know, it is what's hot in the market right now. ATV, UTV, and Harley-Davidson accessories right now. People are spending money on toys. They're spending money on getting out there and enjoying themselves with all these crazy lockdowns and things that are going on right now. What better way to have fun than to have an awesome audio system on your Harley-Davidson motorcycle?
Yeah, and from what I've learned so far, now I'm not a Harley owner myself, but I've been through, I've sat through a couple of these trainings and tried to understand the culture behind, this Harley-Davidson audio. And it is that, a culture. These guys will soup up their bike. And they're going to show up, hang out with their friends, and they're going to hear their system. And next thing you know, you got a referral business. Like, hey, where'd you get that, stereo installed? And is that what you're seeing right now, Romesh, through your customers?
Oh, absolutely. People who, where it was a secondary or maybe tertiary expense in the household, they've really moved it to the forefront. We have people upgrading bikes, actual machines. So the past audio system went with the bike. So looking to build a new bike or new audio system. Got some personal friends who've got rid of some bikes last year, the year before, because the value of the bikes went up. And then like you said, went into road glides and things, and really to optimize the audio system, because there was more opportunity for parts and things versus the other Harley they had before, where they had to go with a third-party fairing that didn't have the fitment sizes they wanted, and things that
they don't look as good on those bikes. They don't look as good.
They don't. They're going for that cafe racer style, and which is fine. But some of them don't have the Metra fairings have. In the SaddleTramp brand, everything's been thought out, right? It's been thought out from an enthusiast standpoint. What would I do if this was my bike, type of thing? So when they built the tooling and things for the fairings and the lids and all the different mount opportunities, they weren't building them for 5 1/4s and things like that. They were really optimizing for for bigger sound, where they could put 6.5 or 6x9s or dual 6x9s, or there's some pretty exciting stuff to show dealers. And I'm not sure that everybody actually knows what the full line. We can't even touch the full line. It's that big. But
I think you're
pretty
crazy
with the little amount of time that we have here, Romesh and Ben. But it is a gigantic brand that Metra came about because we listen to our dealers over here at Metra, and we want to make sure that we have a segment for literally everything that we can possibly do in the 12-volt sector. So SaddleTramp being such a large brand, a lot of those fairings and saddlebag covers and lower pod speakers, all that plastic injection molding stuff is actually being done in-house in Florida. I wish that every single retailer out there had the opportunity to visit our manufacturing plant in Daytona Beach, Florida. And, I've been there myself, obviously. And after seeing the amount of forethought and process that goes into building all of these, pieces like the fairings and the saddlebag covers and all that stuff is being done in-house at Metra by our R&D department, in our tooling department, in our plastic injection molding section, in our, painting department, and then our packaging department, and then to our shipping department, and then to our retailers. All that stuff is being done in-house. And, Metra being such a large, what I like to call a peripheral company. We're not massive on making speakers and amps and subs and all, all the different, head units and things like that. But we work very well with, for example, some of the brands that Importel carries, like Arc Audio and DB Drive. A lot of those speakers and motorcycle applications that Importel has, they're an all-in-one solution, right? So here at Metra, we like to take into consideration like our speaker adapter rings that you want to, adapt a 5 1/4 to a 6.5 or a 6 3/4 inch speaker. We really put a lot of thought into making all of these pieces fit so that when a guy looks at another guy's motorcycle, it's very much like, going to the marina, and you're at the marina and the guy says, man, where'd that audio system come from? It's the exact same thing with these motorcycle guys. They say, holy crap, I was driving down the 402 or the 401 and I could hear you 6 or 7 car lengths behind me. And they want to ask, where'd you get that stuff done? Or how'd you get that done? Right. So, my job at Metra is to work with retailers and distributors and get this product out there and get people aware that the profitability margin on this Harley Davidson stuff right now is huge, massive. Most recently, I think we have somebody from Angry Jay's Customs over here in Ontario, and he is Harley Davidson specific audio. Amongst other things, he does some, things like, motorcycle engine tuning and, lights and all that kind of jazz. But he mainly focuses on doing audio systems on motorcycles. And for the retailers out there who are listening today, I want you guys to leave a comment down there and below and kind of say, hey, how many motorcycles do I do a month, and how can I grow the business using Importel and the SaddleTramp brand to, become more profitable?
If I could add to that, I mean, if you had the chance to check out, Gatlin and I did some, industry week stuff with the guys at Metra headquarters. I mean, their bikes are on site. These guys are working on them there and then to make sure fitment is there, to make sure, all the wires connect and all that type of stuff. So to further to your point and just to round this out, so because we do want to get into the product, Romesh and Gatlin, when Metra puts their mind to something and they can apply their tools and their resources to it, they're going to go hard and heavy. And I think you'll realize the moment you dive into that SaddleTramp cattle, like these guys are not joking around. And it gets bigger every year. Most recently, I don't know if we're going to get into it, but those batwing fairings that that we talked about very recently, those are huge pieces. That's not like a little wiring kit. You know what I mean? No. It's giant. It's a giant piece.
And that's in-house in Florida.
Yeah, like, exactly what I'm trying to say.
We are the manufacturer. Not only are we 12 volt, but we are the manufacturer, right? Mm-hmm. So any of that plastic injected molding stuff, I wish our retailers and viewers could actually come down to Florida. And you know what? If you're ever in the Daytona Beach, Florida area and you want to come check out our manufacturing plant, potentially we could get you guys a tour if, these COVID restrictions would, go away. But, if you ever had the opportunity to actually see inside of our tooling department and the plastic injection department, it's impressive.
Gatlin, you did a call out before. Check out the first comment we just got.
Yes,
averaging 15 and up bikes per month in London, Ontario. Imagine that.
Huge market.
So what would you say the average cost of a build is, Romesh? When you talk about some math here, what are we talking about?
Retail,
yeah.
What you
speaker
wants to spend are always two very different.
Right. I mean, I would say using like a motorcycle performance accessory or audio kit from ARC, like an impact kit,
sure,
with four speakers. Installed
stuff.
Installed, you're probably and lids and all the rest of uppers and lowers. It's funny is the amp would stay the same. You'd probably be somewhere in I'd say 2,500 to 3,500 depending on whether you're doing
15 of those a month.
Yeah.
That's about right, and you can go way up from there too. And I'm a firm believer, and actually after talking to Jason over at Angry Jays there too, he's a do it once, do it right, spend the right amount of money, and be happy with it, right? We can talk about these hog tunes brands all day long, but when you start getting into real aftermarket gear with our SaddleTramp covers and fairings and lower pods, with a speaker like an ARC Audio or a DB Drive amplified, it blows that stuff out of the water. This stuff sounds so good.
Jay did some math for us. He's like roughly looking at 2,200. You weren't too far off, Romesh, but it goes basically from 1,400 to 3,500 roughly.
Right.
Yeah, like 1,400 would be would be getting into it, and then it leaves you lots of expansion because the same amplifier can run 2, 4, 6, 8 drivers, right? So.
And you can get into 6 speakers. Yeah. You can go, you can get into 8 speakers if you want to. So let's dive into some of this product here that you guys got on that table, Romesh.
Yeah. Where do you want to go first, Romesh?
Well, I think we were just talking about quote unquote bat wings. We don't have the new yet to be released one that was sneak peeked during the
CMA Live.
The CMA Live. Mm-hmm. However, we do have the Batwing installed here on a display from one of our dealers. He was kind enough to build this one.
Who put that together for you?
It was good old Conrad. No, I was going there. Good old Conrad at Sudbury Car Audio was able to put that together for us.
Yes.
So we've got a I don't know if you can pan over there. Is that showing for you, Ben, right now?
I got it right here. There you go.
Alex.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
So that's the full Batwing setup right there. It's designed on a display with the ARC Audio Moto. That's a 600.4, but the 720.
That's our 95-HDIF-NP.
Right. That.
It's a black unpainted fairing. So the guys who are getting these fairings, they can go ahead and send it to their body shop and get it color matched to whatever color their motorcycle is. And actually, if you want to ask about who you should get it painted by, you should talk to Jay, because this guy either does it in-house and he gets the Harley-Davidson paints from Harley-Davidson. So it's a perfect match for you. But it's a nice smooth finish. Very minimal amounts of body work are required to get that thing to look, OE.
So help me understand something, guys. Help me understand something. So for somebody who doesn't know what they're looking at, what exactly does this piece achieve?
So you want me to do it? Or you want to go ahead?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Gatlin.
I'm so excited. I want to talk about it all.
Do
right?
it.
This piece allows you to install a double DIN radio into the normally single DIN radio platform, and then of course allows you to install a set of 6 3/4 inch coaxial speakers and or tweeters. You have a little mounting area there for tweeters if you'd like to do an external tweeter as well. And it also gives you the ability with some of our SaddleTramp amplifier mounts, which actually will mount underneath of the radio. It'll give you a little spot to actually strap either an Arc Audio or whatever type of brand of amplifier you'd like to below that radio. And, you know, if any of our retailers have worked on motorcycles, once you've had that back cover off of a motorcycle fairing, it's all right there, excluding running, you know, a couple sets of speaker wires to the back of the bike and a couple of wires for your power and ground down the backbone. All of your main wiring is going to be done right behind that fairing. So, you know, this fairing, you know, expands it a little bit, leaves you room for all of your factory OE gauges, obviously. And of course, a nice double DIN radio. So you can add Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the fun things that you'd expect out of a new car, but on your motorcycle. So all these creature comforts and features are now easily accessible without having to super modify your factory fairing, fiberglassing. You know, that's the way guys used to do it. That's why we came up with this idea, is so that, you know, it's literally you take your OE piece, you put it in the garage or you put it in the box that this piece came in, and you save it for a rainy day in the event that you go to sell your bike, or you go ahead and you want to, you know, market it and say, hey, I got my factory piece here as well. But it's ease of installation. It's profitability in the base.
I'm going to presume that these are factory mounting points, and the gauges also retrofit right back into this new fairing.
You got it. You got it.
Very nice.
So if you're looking at the size of that piece, just for reference, when we were talking about tooling earlier, what's really I guess important is that the amount of tooling that tooling costs. If you think of it as like an automotive bumper, right? We all, you know, we're all kind of car people. We've been there. It's very, very rare that you'll see anybody injection molding other than OEs or OE tier 1 suppliers injection molding anything, because the tooling costs are like 6 figures. They're massive, right?
So a block of steel, just to give you an idea for how large that plastic, it's 5 by 5 by 5. It's a gigantic piece of cast or steel that has to be in-house tooled and dyed before it gets sent to our plastic injection molding team there in Florida. And it's quite the impressive I
gotta say, Jason's been very, very upfront with some comments here. Check out this comment. These Metra fairings are a definite game changer. They're very well built, and it is a direct fit replacement. And to be honest, they are nicer than the factory Harley fairings without a doubt.
Our fitment is bang on. You know, those OE Allen screws that go behind the OE fairings, it's all lines up perfect, fits perfect. The factory gaskets go around there beautifully. You know, no weird squeaks or rattles or things like that you wouldn't expect that, I guess, normally on Harley Davidson.
That right there, when you hear that coming from another installer, gives you confidence from a shop perspective to invest in, you know, because that's not a really inexpensive piece. It's a big piece, and it's going to be a big piece for the customer as well. The last thing you want is to have all this stuff ordered in and something that big doesn't fit, right? I mean, that just ruins you. So know that the confidence, you know, with the Metra brand and hearing this testimonial from people like Jason makes a big difference.
Right. The reason that we focus on injection molding, for those that don't know, or consumers that are out there, is before this and before Harley had fairings, there was a massive third party business. There were a couple of manufacturers actually here in Canada that were handling fairings and selling them, and then dealerships were buying them and what have you, because they didn't have Harley fairings. And when you're handling anything, as you know, and our installers know with fiberglass, it's not always 100% repeatable. It's repeatable, but it's not consistent. And consistency on fit with the bikes, like, you want everything to fit and the tolerances to be exact so everything lines up and it doesn't warp in cooling, or, you know, you mix it too hot in the resin. And there's all these like human aspects that are now removed if you can injection mold. The thing is, you need to be able to make a 5 by 5 by 5 in-house and not have to pay someone else to do it, you know, and then have it made in a factory that, you know, third-party factory, and then have it shipped over and hope it's all going to work properly, right?
Yeah. So very good, very good.
So not only are you getting a plastic injected molded fairing, obviously, but you get all the hardware, gaskets, all the pieces and parts and peripherals you'll need to install an aftermarket radio and an aftermarket set of speakers into your OE fairing. Yeah.
How many different finishes are available in these?
There's 2. So unpainted and black. So,
okay,
you know, black is just, you know, the majority of Harley Davidsons out there are black. And even the painted finish is sandable, primable, and paintable in the event that you know, one of our suppliers has, you know, just a black one in stock and they don't have an unpainted version in stock. You know, if it's painted black, it's likely going to be even a better finish than the unpainted version that you're going to have to prime and paint as well. So,
and does it require any additional hardware, or are you just using OE hardware?
All OE hardware that comes off of the motorcycle will adapt to our aftermarket fairing for easy installation.
Perfect. Easy enough. I mean, other than that, is you got to put in a new double DIN radio, get a Metra kit to connect the wires, and you're off to the races.
Again, we're a peripherals company. We do have a couple of small amplifiers in the SaddleTramp brand and our Power Sport brand that we encourage our customers to use with our stuff, because a lot of our OE aftermarket amplifier mounting brackets are designed for our specific amplifiers. However, can be used in a wide variety of amplifiers, including ARC and DB and all that stuff, JL and all that kind of stuff as well. It's really up to the listeners. Something that I've had really good luck with, and I think Jason can contest to this as well, and maybe Romesh, is if you had an opportunity to listen to a set of those new Focal speakers in one of our fairings, phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal.
I'll tell you, you know what that fairing does for me though? It looks like it places the speaker. So really, any speaker you put in there makes it look like it's optimized from a axis, I guess, on axis, off axis type of perspective.
Right.
So yeah, I think honestly, it'll sound better than stock no matter what any kind of speaker you put in there. That's
anything's better than that factory hog tune stuff.
Yeah, so there you go.
Blame a brand, but it's just kind of like, let's get away from that stuff, guys, and start going real aftermarket.
Well, even the factory, even the factory Harley, when they quote unquote upgraded to a 6.5, right? It's effectively a 5 1/4 basket with a 6.5 5 1/4 speaker with a 6.5 basket type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the cone area hasn't really gotten that much bigger, and it doesn't have that much any appreciable amount of excursion. So anytime you can upgrade to a 6.5, an aftermarket 6.5, be it ARC or Vega or the Moto from DB Drive.
Well, let's be honest,
you're going to be that much further ahead.
Aren't just upgrading audio; they're also upgrading their engines. Screaming Eagle engines, Reinhardt pipes. These things are loud, and they need to get past that stuff. With an audio system. So the more speakers and the higher amplification you can add to those bikes to make that happen is what you're going to need.
Yeah, this customer doesn't care to be stealthy.
Yeah, doesn't care to be stealthy
whatsoever. All right, we're going to keep the ball rolling. Romesh, what next category do we want to talk about as far as products go? Because let's do as much as possible.
Let's do lowers.
Lowers. What is a lower for those that are maybe
Gatlin,
not familiar?
What's a lower? Tell us about
a lower. What's a lower and up? I keep hearing lowers and uppers.
So the lowers are where your feet would normally rest. Those little bars that go around the sides there. The lowers are right below the lower or the top fairing, I guess you could say. And these would house a 6.5 or a 6 3/4 inch 6.5. And I think the ones that they've got there on display are ported versions. Am I right? There they are. See the little ports there at the bottom? These are our BC-HD LSP lower speaker fairings pods. So these here are our black painted finish, as you can see, versus the fairing that was there before. Nice little grill set there, nice port in the back. These things will just add an astronomical amount of front stage if you're planning on doing it. If you didn't want to do the rear saddlebags and you really wanted to have all that forward stage, this would be the best way to do it. So these are, again, our lower fairing speaker pods.
Yeah. All right. So let me add this right. You have pods for lower.
Yes.
You have pods for upper.
Yes.
How many? Okay, I'm just counting. If you add the Batwing and you have lowers and uppers, you're already at 3 pairs of speakers.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
This is normal.
That is very normal. Very, very normal. The ones that I guess Alex is now putting in this screen here are these, I believe, are the BC-HD LFP, and these are for the 14 and 18 up models of Harley Davidsons. So there's the provisions for the front fairing, and of course the bar that goes in behind the pod there. He's removing the speaker grill, or let's take a close look at that speaker grill. We've actually designed that speaker grill there so that you don't have to technically use marine grade speakers. And let's be honest, a lot of these motorcycle guys aren't pressure washing their speakers. They're pressure washing the body panels, but the small holes that are in those steel grills there are small enough that in general, if you're riding down the road with, and it's raining, you're not going to get an abundance of water on the front of the speaker. So that's why the grills are designed in that fashion, is so that they can roll off water quite quickly and not having to use always marine speakers, because marine speakers are good in their applications, but oftentimes a standard car audio speaker in a motorcycle is going to sound better. It'll be cheaper as well for the customer, And you want to be able to protect that investment. And, you know, our grills are designed so that water can roll off and not infect the speaker performance at all while you're driving down the
Now,
road.
do these only fit the aftermarket SaddleTramp Batwing fairing, or is this meant to fit a factory without the aftermarket fairing?
Yeah, these will fit without the aftermarket fairing. You can just slap those guys on there. And if you want to keep your factory OE fairing, we do make speaker adapters that will adapt from that 5 1/4. And it's basically like, I'm not sure if Alex has got any of those there on hand, but it allows you to integrate a 6.5 to a 5 1/4 to a 6.5 or 6 3/4 inch speaker.
We didn't bring any adapters, any of the transition adapters, but
and it goes down from a 5 1/4 down into a 6.5. This is just a generic speaker adapter for a Volkswagen, but it's an idea.
It's just it's effectively for lack of a better term, a speaker funnel, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. So it just transitions from that smaller size to the bigger size. It allows you to bolt everything in.
Right.
Right. And it's all nicely injection molded, so everything lines up, and you don't have to deal with drilling any new holes or
so when you
like
say
that.
injection molded, just to clarify, that means there's no seams or gaps or anything in that enclosure. It's one piece.
As long as it can be made and injected in one piece, then yes.
Okay.
There's not going to be seams or anything like that.
Now, what about finish for these lowers or uppers?
You can get them unpainted or painted.
Again, so fully customizable. You just have to decide what you want to do.
Exactly.
Okay, and when you say paint, you're referring always to black gloss.
That's correct.
Okay, very cool.
Maybe one day we'll get into other. The problem is that Harley Davidson colors are actually Harley Davidson copywritten, so we can't say Harley Davidson orange on our packaging because it would have to be then licensed by Harley Davidson. So black is black, and it's as close a match as we can get it without legally having to get a Harley Davidson approved symbol on there.
All right. So there's another product we want to show, Romesh?
Yeah, there's more mounts.
Let's see what
These
this
again are our lower fairing pod speaker adapter.
Right.
And I believe these are our BC FPP, and these are for the Harley Davidson 14 and up. And these are the unpainted or flat black unpainted versions. And again, very similar grill with the screw cutouts there, allow you to have that rain roll off. And these are a 2-piece. They wrap around the lower foot wrap.
I think the right side is the ported is a ported version, and the left side is a different lower. And I can't remember the application difference between the two.
Ported versus non-ported. Again, you can talk to a car audio guy about that. And some guys say, I like it to be nice and tight and have it non-ported. And other guys are okay with ported. But, in a 6.5 application, the more sound that you can get outside of that pod, the better. So, in my opinion, I think going for a ported version, amplified is the way to go. Always amplify.
Oh, yeah.
Undoubtedly, you have to amplify. Yeah.
Everything and all the things in the world need to be amplified.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they're factory drivers.
I think on CMA we're past that. We wouldn't be here if we weren't talking about amplified sound.
Yeah, you know what though? It's funny. It's funny because the Harley customers are often sometimes could be a car audio customer. Other times they have a Harley and they run stock audio in their car and they don't necessarily know. But some.
Well,
it depends on where they are in their Harley evolution. Up there on their second or third bike, they know everything. They know more than probably the person on the sales floor.
You mean they're not like us and have to have upgraded everything on every vehicle?
I'm not just trying to. If I can encourage the Harley Davidson watchers, viewers watching, just do it once. You want to be happy with the end result. You want to be able to be, riding down the road at 110, 120, the speed limit, whatever it might be where you are, and be able to hear what it is that you're listening to. And so if you think that you can get away without amplifying it and you can save a little bit of money, you're going to be back. I'm just saying you're going to be back.
I don't agree. It should always be amplified. That's just,
Absolutely.
I'm sticking to it.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. What are we looking at here?
So these, you know what, Romesh? Let you
Go,
take
Romesh. Go, Romesh. Drop some knowledge on us.
Drop some knowledge on you. So the next segment. So we talked about fairings. We talked about lowers, right? So the next area, and probably the most common area to update is the lids.
These are the lids.
Are the lids? Okay.
Okay.
So what we've got here, they're different. They're different year ranges, but one is a 6.5 replacement lid. So this allows us to put speakers in an area that unless the person's overnight camping, aside from rain gear, there isn't typically a ton of junk that goes into the.
So there's no speakers that exist there originally from factory.
And unless they have in a base system, no.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, depends on the bike, but typically no. Right, typically you've got the two in the front, and that are 5 1/4 over glorified to be called 6 1/2 if it's a newer bike, or just 5 1/4, and away you go, and you run off, and you've got your new payment on your Harley, and you pull up at the first light, and the guy I'll use Gatlin's explanation, 6 car lengths ahead of you is just completely overrunning your stock pipes and your stock audio system, and you're wondering why. So this is how we get. This is where most people go kind of first. Right, is Gatlin already explained, putting the amplifier, tucking it up under the fairing, but most amplifiers now will give you 4 channels out. So you're amplifying 2 in the front, right? If you don't decide to do lowers right away, you'll do them in the
Is that the sequence? Sorry, is that the sequence? You do your front first, then you do your covers, then you do lowers?
I don't know if there's a sequence, but I think it's
whatever
easier.
Your wallet desires.
Right.
Whatever your wallet allows you to do is what you'll do. The more speakers you can add, in my opinion, the better. You're on an open air space on a motorcycle going 120 down the road with a helmet on, and you want to be able to hear that. I suggest adding as many speakers and as much power to it as you humanly possibly can.
I would say these guys love playing it while they're riding as much as when they're parked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they want to hear it over their, their zombie maker pipes, or, whatever pipes, there are enough YouTube videos on how loud your pipes can be to choke a horse. Like it's insanity. So now after they do that, then they need the audio to go with it. Gotcha. So the 6x9s, obviously because of speaker physical dimension, right? Will get more biggerer.
More biggerer.
Yes, that's a technical term. Mm-hmm. So we've got them in singles. So you can put 1 pair. We've got him also. Alex had just flipped one over for us earlier. I'll get him to flip that one back over.
I mean, it looks.
So this is actually.
I was just gonna say, can't you put 2 speakers on there?
Right. So this is a dual. So this is a dual 6x9. Now in our world, we have 6x9 motorcycle speakers, but we also have 6x9 motorcycle subwoofers.
Yes.
From some manufacturers.
Bass only, no coaxial.
Right. Well, it technically has a coaxial, but it's
okay.
It's a compression horn and a sub.
Okay.
Right. So lots of tweet and lots of bass, providing the factory system will allow you to do that, and we do sell components to allow you to get there. Right. Not part of this.
Wait, hold on a second, Romesh. Yeah. You're telling me the one I'm looking at the right houses 2 6x9s under 1 lid?
2 6x9s under 1 lid, so you can have 4 6x9s.
Okay.
And, right. So
we get to the pizza boxes, Bob.
Right. And
okay.
And we're actually able to even put so you could take a 4-channel amplifier, right? Leave the one that's up under the fairing,
and put another in the back.
And we could put it, since you're going to put 2 6x9s in there, you're not going to have a ton of space in there anyways. So we might as well just use what's left to put another amp in there. Right?
Are these very deep, or are they shallow boxes?
Well, they're as deep as your factory saddlebag is. So.
It's keeping the factory saddlebag, and we're replacing the lid.
The lid only. Okay, gotcha.
And then depending on what your excursion is, we do have from Aggressor, which is another SaddleTramp / Metra brand. We do have spacers that allow you. So if you have a huge excursion in those 6x9s in the lids,
you can
allow them not to hit the. Push the speaker down a little so it doesn't smash against the lid. Right, gotcha. Depending on just what you've got. So we have all of the ways to make that stuff work properly.
Oh my goodness!
So for the consumer, they can go in. Everything's everybody wants their Harley customized, but not drilled into necessarily. Right. So all of this is bolt in. It's non-invasive. It's all retractable
and perfect fit.
Right. It's all perfect fit.
You could. So there's no permanent modifications to be done. So technically, you could sell the bike without the audio system if you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, put the stock lids back on and bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me just recap for those of just tuning in, maybe, or watching this on demand. SaddleTramp, brand from Metra. They went deep, crazy offering. Importel, you guys got all the goods. It's a hot market. We went over brand new fairing replacements, Batwing. We went over lower pods, upper pods, what are they called? Covers?
Bag lids.
bag lids, right?
Yeah.
Singles or dual.
Mhm.
What are we missing? Do we want to show some work and how that looks once it's all
We
put
got some
together?
stuff down the pipeline. We're not going to be able to show on this thing here, but we have some newer offerings potentially in the future for the pizza box as well. So let's
What
put
the
that.
heck is a pizza box?
So there's a term. Some people call it a pizza box. Some people
Okay.
call it a beer case.
Beer
Some people
case.
call it a flat. Depending on. So because I deal nationally, I hear different terms, and I go, "The what now?"
Yeah.
I go, "The
okay.
pizza box," and they're like, "No, the beer case." I said, "Oh, you mean
Right.
that thing in the back?" They're like, "Yes." I go, "Got it."
Okay,
So
so
everybody's got their own.
Let's hear Gatlin's
Geographic
explanation
thing.
of this. I want to learn. I want to
Yeah.
understand this.
we got two in the pizza box or beer box, whatever you want to call it. You got two below the pizza box, beer cooler, whatever you want to call it. You got two inside of the rear saddlebag covers. You have two inside of the bat wing, and then potentially you could have another two inside of the lower fairings. That's 10 speakers.
Yeah.
Actually, technically, you could with the dual 6x9s, you could technically get 12 speakers on your motorcycle.
I guarantee you, if it's possible, somebody's already done it.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Sure.
absolutely.
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 12 speakers. So you need like
Guys,
3-4 channel amps on a
gas
bike.
fiberglass and put speakers in the sides of their gas tank too.
I mean, we've got a 10-inch mount from Aggressor, which is another Metra or / SaddleTramp sister company, to put 10s in those same saddlebags instead of the
10s.
Yeah, motorcycle 10s, my friend.
Yes, why not?
So they actually fire they actually fire in towards the wheels, and you could put two in if you wanted, like one on each side. They make a left and a right.
I mean, really, you should put two because you got to have it balanced.
Or you can put all the amps on the other side because you need lots of.
So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
but would that work also with the lids on top?
Yeah.
So you put the subs and the lids?
Romesh.
Gatlin? Well,
Yes.
Yeah, you can put a 10-inch sub and two 6x9s on the same.
No.
lid?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they'll clear.
That's what I'm asking because that's sick.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe,
No, but
Crazy.
you could,
I don't know.
Sorry,
You always
go ahead.
try.
Okay.
for,
All right.
yeah, good.
No, I'm just gonna show off some pictures here, if you don't mind, guys, and
Yeah.
I'll let you guys talk about it here. So, what are we looking at, Romesh?
So that is, we were talking earlier about the lids and the singles, the replacement singles. So this is the factory lid removed using a SaddleTramp single 6x9 lid with a 7 Vega, and that is the actual subwoofer. Yeah, that is the 6x9 subwoofer we were talking about before.
See, now I can see how it could fit two 6x9s when I see it like that.
And it's absolutely crazy.
Oh, it must be. It's gotta
It's
be.
crazy with one pair. I couldn't imagine what two pairs would be.
Like properly powered 6x9s, especially the ones that they build for this application with the drivers.
You put a Moto 720 on there and juice those, and she'll go.
These pictures are from Angry Jays, right?
This particular one's from Angry Jays. We've got some from a few different dealers, so hopefully I remember from
Let's
memory.
see what this one is here.
So that is the same thing with the lids closed. I believe it's the same bike.
Okay, so that's the other side. Once it's closed and finished,
That's what it looks like when it's closed.
It's really clean. I mean, super slick.
If you didn't know what the bike looked like stock, you would think that would be the stock.
100%.
That's how it came.
100%. And
I don't even think that's been. I'm kind of eyeballing it, even though I sent you these pictures.
Is those the factory grills? Sorry, the grills that come with the kit.
Correct.
Oh, they look factory. Really do. Good job, Metra.
Thank
Good
you.
job with that.
Good job,
right.
Gatlin.
Let's go look at
Oh,
this.
yeah, it's all me. It's all me, guys.
Okay, so here we got a DB Drive WDX 6. I'm gonna guess 6 3/4 inch moto driver there.
It's a 6.5.
6.5?
6.5 moto. It's a massive power handling with a huge motor, as you can see, and that is in a front lower. I think I can see the controls there in front of it, so I'm gonna go with that.
So you can put some pretty beefy drivers under these things.
Yep.
No doubt in my mind. Look at that. All right. And last but not least, I have one more image to share, guys. Take a look at that.
These are
So,
fine.
right. So on the right-hand side there, you can see the dual 6x9s with the open top. And then once it's closed, you had that same perforated, really nice, clean perforated grill look that we had earlier on the table. You can see it there on the bike. with the lids closed.
And there's where you're talking about putting that second amplifier right there in the bag.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Look at that, eh?
Wow. Well, because by the time you close that thing, I mean, if you're using something that deep or a driver that substantial, right? There isn't much left at the bottom of the as far as space. I mean, you might fit a raincoat or a couple of things. I mean, it's not critical space at that point.
Maybe a towel.
At this stage, your audio system takes precedence.
Right.
You need a trailer.
Right. Right. Like it's like
yeah.
Like at that point, it's you've determined with the bike owner that the touring packs are not for touring.
No,
because they've clearly
sound system.
Right. They've clearly decided that that's, and we have automotive customers and, marine customers and stuff like that are similar too, right? So they'll take up as much space as they want to. Once you've done that, you've got a great opportunity. I wholeheartedly suggest that everybody put a separate amp in the back and run the fronts, and rather than, run everything at 2 ohms if you don't have to, and you've got the space, and at that point,
dual 4 channels.
Does a few $100s at this point really make a difference when you're that far into the entire build?
You gotta do it. You got to change the fairing. You got to change the speakers up top. Put in the lowers. Get the dual bags. Let's go.
Right.
So I'm reading the comments here. I'm reading the comments here, and Jason from Angry Jays is saying the pizza box is the really thin beer box. The beer box is the one that's a little bit larger, and the tour pack is the one where you can actually get all the things, the touring things, like your jacket.
Got it.
Speakers and amplifiers. I've actually put amplifiers myself in a pizza box or beer box, wherever it might be, because that's a nice central location.
Right.
Keep that equilibrium going on the motorcycle there.
Very, very cool. Right. And the thing with these, what I've noticed from the images you provided, Romesh, it's a super clean install. Like once a bike's parked, like you barely even know there's that kind of money underneath the fairings and all that stuff.
Yeah, like we got some images sent to us from Audio Pros in Brantford. They were kind enough to send us images. Same with Angry Jays, obviously. We have we unfortunately don't have a huge database of images the dealers have sent. So if people want to send them out to us, to my email, for everybody that knows my email, then I will hang on to them and give you guys the credit later on some social media posts. So
I gotta post a comment here. Somebody's making fun of me, and I love it. People.
Yeah, is it our ethnicity? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
You guys are funny, Ben. You should get to know some bike. I totally do. I all I want to do is now, buy one and do this to it, just because the parts are. It's all about parts. If the parts are available, it makes you just want to go for it. How many builds have I done in my career? There, I took a bit off more than I could chew. Went with a platform that had no parts. Oh my God, you just run into wall frustration, try to get, what I'm saying? Custom parts done. So it just never works. But when you're getting into an arena or a platform that has this many accessories and toys to play with, oh my God, this is where it's at. So yeah, absolutely. Yes, Terry, I do need to get with some bikes. In fact, I need to just get into bike in general. And but how about the other, we only talk
I think
about
there is
Harley.
a market for metric. Yeah, there is a market for metric, especially in Canada.
Yeah.
But
what about Indian? I see a lot of Indians out there.
Someone just brought that up in our office yesterday or on Friday.
Yeah, there needs to be a bit of a wider span, but the Harley Davidson market is just so large that eventually we potentially might get into doing other brands of motorcycles, but for the time being, with the Harley Davidson segment being so large for our retailers and distributors right now, it just doesn't make sense.
I think it's similar to power sports, whereby the vast majority of the product application specific is geared towards the most popular platform, which happens to be the Polaris RZR. But there are offshoots. There are other kits, but a lot of the universal stuff, installers have found ways to make it work. I think that could kind of be the same thing with motorcycles. I'm sure you could find ways to upgrade that sound on all these other models as well. So
absolutely.
Is there anything else we want to show on the product cam here? I see there's something that's on there right now.
What's Alex got up there? Oh, I see.
Let's take a look. There we go. What's that?
Alex is gonna bring those closer because they're very dark right now.
Alex, Mr. Webmaster for Importel, is being our Vanna White today. Thank you, Alex.
He is.
Look at that. There you go. Thumbs up. Bring one right to the camera lens. Yeah. What are we looking at here? Are those a pod? Looks like a speaker pod.
So that's a Harley Davidson Bluetooth speaker setup. So it'll actually clamp right to the
handlebars.
To the handlebars, yeah. So they're like top mounted. if you will.
See the controls on there, Ben? So
I do, yeah.
On and off and control the audio. Now, again, these are just a 3.5-inch speakers. You're not going to get a crazy amount of audio out of these when you're driving down the road, but they are, sufficient enough for a stock Harley Davidson. One that doesn't have Screaming Eagle pipes and engines and all the things on it. That's, these are really a supplementary piece to our brand at SaddleTramp to allow our customers to have some type of audio without having to go to the expansive rear bat wing or front bat wing.
That's like the baby step kind of introduction.
Baby steps.
Right. Or if you have an older bike, like 70s or 80s bike, right, where it didn't have a fairing or a thing, or you have...
These don't have to be specific.
Yeah, what if I have like an older Honda Cruiser? That would be perfect, right? I could just put that right there.
Right.
There you go.
Right. So,
Bluetooth, so no amplification, no source unit power.
All built in.
It's all built in.
Plug my phone to it. There's my source.
Yeah.
Let's play.
Ignition, good to go.
It might be less exciting than the bat wings and all the back stuff, all the lids and all of that stuff, but there is a market for it.
All you need, we got
right. If someone needs something for when they stop at the the local after an hour and a half, they stop at the local ice cream emporium and they want to listen to some tunes while they're telling big fish stories around their bike with their buddies. There's some tunes, right? And it's simple, it's easy. And it gets them to,
it's non-invasive. Like you're not drilling holes or you're not cutting pieces off. You're just adding it.
Easy install.
So, how do we want to round this out, guys? What's the last message that we want people to watch to get when they watch this?
The message that I want people to understand is that the brand is a lot bigger and more. There's a lot more peripherals than just front fairings and lower fairings and pizza box covers and there's lighting, there's amplifiers, there's amplifier mountings, there's rear backbone harnesses, there's speaker harnesses, there's adapter plugs, there's our DSP. So if you want to keep your factory radio and get the better,
there's DSP. Wow, we just talked about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different options and accessories, peripherals, I like to call them, to include and get all of your system in one spot. We don't make a 6.5 or a 6x9 subwoofer like Arc Audio or Serwin Vega might. So we have all the interconnects, all the little bits and pieces to make your audio system work, excluding the speakers and the subwoofers and the head units and all that. We do make some amplifiers, and of course, if you guys have an opportunity to use our amplifiers and applications, I would always encourage that as well. But we have a vast variety of parts, including lighting and all of those. So I encourage our users to visit the website over at Importel and go through their catalog and look at all the in-stock pieces that they have there. They stock a lot of our stuff. I would want to say that, Importel, I mean, our business there is what? Tell us, Romesh, I mean, how much?
They sell a lot.
We move a lot of motorcycle audio products.
And I wanted to
like
shift that to you, Romesh. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, SaddleTramp is like a backbone to your motorcycle business because really every install needs some type of SaddleTramp item. But you're also geared with the right audio equipment as well. Maybe you could touch on that as well from an Importel standpoint.
Right. So, I mean, Metra obviously is a key product partner for us, and the SaddleTramp line for motorcycles is really second to none as far as having the technology in house and being able to supply us with the parts. And then we do carry or distribute to retailers across the country some key motorcycle brands. So Arc Audio, as we touched on before, they've got what they call MPAKs, motorcycle performance audio kits, that are they're literally plug and play. Everything is lengths are predetermined. Everything's pre-terminated. There isn't a single wired skin or anything. It's all literally non-invasive, non-invasive, louder than you could ever imagine, very underrated on power when all channels are driven. And then we carry Serwin Vega audio, which we saw earlier with some unique pieces like the 6x9 subwoofer. And then DB Drive, the Moto series, is absolutely phenomenal as well. More kind of that pro audio sound, but marinized or weather-proofed. So we'll go with the IP52 rated stuff. And yeah. Well, we saw a couple of we saw an image there of the WDX
there you go
6.5 Moto, right? So that's available in a couple of different flavors. We've got 6x9s, we've got 8s for guys who are doing 8s, like custom crazy, like over the top crazy stuff. And then the amplifier side of it, obviously with the like those M packs from ARC have the Moto 720 amplifiers within them. We've also got some motorcycle amplifiers, the VCU series from Cervega, and we've got the
we're talking about amplifiers. Do we have any of the amplifier brackets there on the table?
I was trying to interject there earlier when you were talking. I don't have the brackets on here, but I was going to say we have. There are 5, I believe. So they're OE fitment. So they mount to the OE locations for aftermarket amplifiers.
Oh, even the brackets
platform.
Yeah,
right. Too.
So you're not drilling into anything.
Perfect.
And an amplifier to the factory radio kind of thing.
Right. And then the ARC audio, the M-Pack kits include it. So if you have the Rogue Glide, or if you don't have a Rogue Glide, you don't need it. So you just put it aside. But all of that stuff is in those kits. So what's kind of neat about us with the audio side or the SaddleTramp side is we have dealers that are purchasing the entire kit. So we've got the lids, the speakers. So we get the feedback, and like those images that you saw were dealers that purchased both the drivers and the audio portion, as well as Gatlin was saying, the peripheral or the motorcycle peripheral portion, all from directly off our website from us.
And last but not least, just to round out the conversation, you've got the lighting as well with Heiss and the LED, programmable RGB stuff that could go all over the bikes that I learned about. And really, if you're looking for motorcycle stuff, give Importel a call, and pretty much you're covered top to bottom.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right. I would always encourage our dealers, of course, to visit our website as well at metraonline.com. Click that catalogs link at the top. Click our SaddleTramp link as well, and just see the vast variety of parts that Importel has available.
They got some great videos too. Don't forget on Metra, they've got some great install videos on the different SaddleTramp parts. Our friends over there at your camp there have taken the time to put those videos together. So if you're curious about how well these things fit, go on and check out their YouTube channel. Gatlin, I can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank you, Jason, for getting in the comments section and answering any questions and kind of going along with it today. Appreciate it big time. Thank you.
See you next time, Gatlin.
See you later.
Thanks, Gatlin.
All right. So, Romesh, needless to say, I think there was a point trying to be made here, and that is Importel takes motorcycle audio and accessories quite seriously. Any last word that you'd like to tell our audience?
Well, I mean, if you're a dealer and you're looking to get in the category, or you're in the category but people don't know, you don't have to. I mean, buying a bike is obviously great, and you might have fun with it. If that's not in your wheelhouse, you can always borrow what I call rent a bike or borrow a bike. If you've got some close customers or good, past customers that you've done cars with, sometimes they're just looking for a place to store the bike, and you put a little cordon around it, and it's a silent seller. It gives you the opportunity to do some motorcycle videos and stuff, and some audio, some social media videos that'll reach out to the consumers. If you're a consumer and you're interested in this type of thing and you're not sure, what's going on with it, call your local retailer. Your retailers, believe it or not, as much as, the name in the top of the side might say car audio or what have you, they're really mobile electronic specialists, right? And you'd be surprised if you ask them if they're, if they're not on top of their social media, or if they just, don't have, they got lots of pictures and haven't posted them. Stopping in and asking, you'll be surprised at how much actual experience that your local retailer does have. So, by all means, reach out to them. If you are a dealer, calling our office, Kelly's got a background doing custom bikes from 100 million years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth. So, we do have people that at varying degrees of motorcycle that speak varying degrees of Harley Davidson.
Are you kidding me? Just call and ask for Romesh. That's all you need to do.
I'm saying there's enough of us here that can help you, is what I'm saying. Right? Good. We're not a one-headed monster. We're like a 5-headed monster. So we can get you set up. Yes.
SaddleTramp, Heiss, LED, lighting, Cervega, ARC audio, and DB Drive. Those
and
are your main
and Aggressor, which is another.
And Aggressor, right.
Right. So if you guys are looking for some of the spacers, the subwoofer enclosures, some of the more aggressive parts, then the Aggressor brand has that. Yeah.
One last little testimony you'll appreciate. There it goes. Angry Jays, we build bikes, we ride bikes, and we do crazy audios and bikes. Importel has it covered in every aspect. Thank you, Jason.
Awesome, Jay.
On that note, thank you so much for being on, Romesh.
Thank you, Mr. Wu.
Learned a lot about motorcycles, and we'll see you on the next one.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Ben.
Take care. There you have it, guys. Getting your learn on the motorcycle category. We can't talk about it enough because it is a hot category you need to get in on, Importel seems to have the goods. Give those guys a ring. Call Romesh. Say, buddy, how do I get into motorcycles? I'm sure he'll be happy to help you out. If not, check out their website. That's it for this episode of CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.